Well, over the past 2 weeks, I had 3 phone calls with people calling me up saying that their engine's making a horrible noise. And after asking a few questions and testing a few things, turned out 3 different times it was the bearing going out of the air conditioner clutch. So, and did this video some years ago talking about the parts you need to create an air conditioner or AC bypass. So, but at the time, it was, I don't know why, for whatever reason, I did not make a video. I actually put the parts on, confirmed that they worked, but I didn't stop and take the time to make a video. So this time I'm actually going to make a video of it, doing the install and what tools to use. So, and just to let you know, this is something you need to carry with you, because this is going to be more common as our RVs get older. I replaced our compressor, going back, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I started getting a vibration bearing was going out of it. So, but one thing also I was wanting to point out to you is the fact that I know this system works on the W22 and W24, where it has the larger power steering pulley. On the P32 chassis, they have a smaller power steering pulley, so they have a little bit different belt. So I've updated my old video, and I'll put a link on the old video to this new one I'm about to make tonight. But you can see here the on our, what's our, let me find it here. Yeah, if you got a W24, you got a 108-inch belt. If you got a P32 that's got the different power steering pump, then you use a 103-inch belt. So for the AC bypass, we have to use a shorter belt, which is 95.5. There's the Deco part number. There's the pulley part number. Get my mouse out of the way. There's the Deco part number. So I would be under the assumption then, if you have a P32 chassis and you want to do an AC bypass, you want to go with a 90.5-inch belt. Now I need to confirm that for somebody does this and it does work, let me know. Or if it's a 90-inch or 91, whatever you come up with. But I believe a 90.5 will get it. So that'll get us started. So let's grab some tools and go get dirty. Well, let's get started. So imagine you start your RV up and you hear this awful racket and you don't know exactly where it's coming from. The one test you can do, because you got to stop and think about how this works. So here's your air conditioner compressor right down in here. Here's another view of it. And on the front pulley, most of the times when the compressor is not on, this acts like a giant idler. There's a big bang there and that pulley just spins constantly, and it's not rotating the compressor. Only until you flip on the switch to turn on the air conditioning compressor does it lock, and then it's all spinning as one unit. And that at that time the bearing's not being spun, it's spinning with the whole compressor. But then if you're the kind of person who most of the time you drive without the air conditioning compressor on, or without the air conditioning on, then that little bearing is just spinning all the time, just like these other little idlers. So you got your idler. It's a little dark here. We got the idler right here, and then you got that's a stationary idler. That's one we're going to be changing. And then down below you've got your tensioner idler, and that little bearing. They're always spinning, and I keep spare bearings with me just in case one craps out on me. I can change it pretty quick. So anyway, so if there was one scenario, you may find you have a horrible racket coming from your engine. You don't know what it is. But as a test, as you're listening to the racket, go up here, turn the air conditioner on, and see if the racket goes away or changes. So if it does, then you can pretty much assume it is the compressor itself and or the bearing that's giving you the problem, most likely the bearing. And then you know, okay, well, I need to do something about it, because it completely craps out on you totally, and you could, it could slip, burn the belt up. And got to think about this. See, we've only got one belt that drives everything. So if this bearing completely gets destroyed and you don't have a bypass kit with a different pulley and a different belt, you're not going anywhere until you stop and buy another compressor. It's to replace that. So just depends on where you're at, what part of the country. So I came up with this. Well, other people did, but I just found the components. But I'm gonna make the video just to show you how easy it is to change. I did this once before, like I said, and I just didn't stop and make a video of it. But this time we'll make the video and I'll document what tools you need. So keep these with you. Hopefully you never don't need them, but if you do, you got them. It's a cheap insurance policy. So let me find some tools. Okay, you can see here we are under the RV. I want to point this out to you. I put this under here years ago, put some clear UPS tape on it so it protects it. So there's our diagram. You want to be sure to document this, take a screenshot of it while you're watching this video so you know exactly how to put everything back on. There's your crankshaft, power steering pulley, air conditioner pulley. So we're going to be bypassing this, and if I remember right, the routing will now go above this. I'm getting the camera. It will go from your alternator above this idler and straight down to the power steering pump, bypassing the air conditioner altogether. So let's find out what tools we need, and we'll get this belt loose and get started. Okay, let's see how this is going to work out. Doing this one-handed today. So you just start out with a simple 3/8 drive ratchet. There's a square hole right in behind that tensioner idler pulley. We do that. Now, when you want to take the tension off this, you want to leave your ratchet hanging straight down. Don't go taking the ratchet over here trying to get a bite on it, because what's going to happen once you get the belt loose, that tensioner pulley is going to go rotate way up in there kind of high, going to take your ratchet with it, and you could find yourself in a bind where the ratchet is going to hit something before the tension gets off the spring. But as long as you start down here, you're good to go. Next thing is a lot of tension on it. So unless you got gorilla arms, which I don't have, I got me a little piece of PVC pipe, cheater pipe thing. Actually, if you saw I did a video on my bat wing tune-up thing. There's a special goofy socket that you have to buy. I didn't have one to buy, so I made one out of this PVC pipe. See where I put my little notches in there. And so anyway, I had this in the toolbox, and it works perfect for my Harbor Freight ratchet. Fits right on there. All right, so now how am I going to do this by one hand? Let me switch hands with the camera. Okay, oh, this is going to be tricky. So anyway, you go get the idea. There we go. All right, so I went as far as I can get. Let me see if we can get this belt off with one hand. Here we go. All right. That is tricky. All right, so see what I'm doing? I'm just peeling it off the bottom. Okay, so I did that with one hand. And now I'm going to let the tension go. Let that rotate up in there. See how it kind of goes up in there kind of high. All right, so now the tensioner has stopped. And I can get all this stuff out of my way. Now, whoops, shoot what I'm trying to do. I need to rotate my, there it goes. There you go. I think I'm back in order. I survived. It didn't knock me in the head, but it was close. Now let's get the belt loose. Am I recording? Yeah, I guess I am. Okay. All right, let's try to unthread this crazy thing. Let's take a look from the power steering pulley. That should give us quite a bit of slack. Yeah. Okay, so we're still hooked to the air conditioner. Let's see if I can reach it from down here. Oh, the air conditioner's way up there, isn't he? All right, let's try this. Yeah, okay, got it. See, I've unhooked it from the air conditioner now. So we got that done. All right, so now just pull it the rest of the way out. Right, here she is. That's pretty nice. That worked out really good. So that's how easy it is to take the belt off. Now, where's my short belt? What do I do with it? Left it in the RV, of course. Let me go get it. Well, I figured while I'm in the side of the RV, now would be the time to put the pulley on. So let's do that next. Oh, what you'll need is a 15mm socket. Put it right there on that flat idler, the stationary one. Go. It already broke it loose a little bit. It wasn't too bad tight. All right. while you got off, you can also check the condition of that bearing. Like I said, I keep spare bearings with me because it's a very common bearing. Used in a lot of electric motors and things. Just take your time. Don't drop anything down below. And it's almost off. Here we go. There's our pieces parts. All right. I got that. Put that on there. I got this. Turn around and put it right back together. Checking that bearing's nice and quiet. All right. Let's put this pulley on. So you can use the same bolt and everything. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, ratchet. Where'd ratchet go? There it is. Alright, that's done. Now we got the shorter belt. Remember, here's my part numbers, but I'll put all these in links to Amazon for these parts in the video. Here's the part number for the shorter belt. Let's go back on the RV. Alright, let's see if we can remember how this went. We had it threaded, so let's go up through this hole right here. Gonna go between the water pump pulley and the tensioner. Let it drop around and hook onto this power steering pulley. I'll do that first. Remember, if I can do this with one hand, surely you guys can do it with two. All right? Not that bad. And now we got to get up over that pulley on top. Let's see if I can see how to get up there. I may have to break down and use two hands. I'm sorry. Let's do two hands. All right, let's see how much I can get this on video. All right, there we go. All right, so I've got the pulley. The belt is now on top of the serpentine idler pulley I just put on. Then I've taken it over here and looped it around the alternator. So now it's, after we come around the alternator, we're going to come around the tensioner right there. So we got it around the tensioner. Got that lined up. And now we got to get it up around the water pump pulley. It's trying to hang up on those bolts. There we go. Alright. Okay, it's around the water pump pulley. Mostly. Okay, so now all that leaves is getting it around the harmonic balancer. Of course, now I got to get that tension off. Let me see which way would be best. Don't know if it's going to be better to put it on the harmonic balancer first and then slip it over the tensioner. But then my ratchet's going to be in the way, so that's not going to work so well. So yeah, I need to save this for last, just the way I took it off. So let's get this up here. All right, so now let's leave it like that for now. Let me get my ratchet back on there, get the tension off of this, and see if I can't loop the belt on. Let me find my tools again. Okay, so just like before, you just get your ratchet up there in that square hole. There it is. And you want to have it, this time we want to have it positioned kind of like this, so we can get that cheater pipe on there and then bring it down out of our way. Now this is going to get tricky, isn't it? Can we do this with one hand? I don't know. It might be asking a whole lot. So we pull this down. Quite easy enough. Okay. We got that down. But can we get the belt looped on at the same time? That may be asking a lot from one hand. Of course, now I've popped it off the water pump pulley at this point. Let me come up with another plan. Well, you see I had to get creative. So I took my ratchet, my little cheater pipe, and then another ratchet, stuck it in behind the leaf spring. So that's keeping the tensioner idler back out of the way. So that's a handy little trick, patent pending, but you can use it. No royalties needed. So anyway, so you got it wrapped around the alternator up top, or on top of the new serpentine pulley, or around the power steering pulley. And one way you can kind of confirm all this stuff is you can just pull down, and you know you see the power steering pulley is rotating. If you can focus. So I know everything's in good shape, because sometimes you'll think you're in the right spot when you're not. So feel around, because sometimes like this belt could maybe ride up on a pulley like that, and it's going to make it too short. So you just want to make sure it's seated. But if you can get a hold of it and rotate it, pump and everything's turning. So now let's see if we can just go by one hand and thread it around the harmonic balancer. Just like that. Okay. Double check the water pump pulley. It's in alignment. We're okay. I think we're ready to release. Alright, so now we're ready to release the tensioner. Just double checking everything. You can see I'm a little out of alignment up there, so I'm just scoot that over just a little bit. Alright, so that looks good. Okay. Now let's release the tension. Ta-da! That's all we got. And it got me again. Alright, so now we're ready to start this thing and see if it actually works. Okay, let's turn on some lights so we can see what's going on. So you can see your pulley. Now you're going to notice this bolt is close, but it does clear it. It doesn't touch, but it is close. So don't let that concern you. So all should be good to start, but here's it like a test. See how quiet that is? Because this is not very old. So if you take yours off and it's not quiet like that, you know the bearing's kaput. Alright, let's start it up. So if you're on the road and your air conditioner craps out on you, you can quickly get yourself back on the road with this little $25 insurance policy. But no problem at all. And I'm going to try to stick the camera down there to see if you can see how close that is, just so you know. Because I can't see what the camera's seeing at this moment. I'm just kind of panning back and forth. Don't even know if it's in focus. But anyway, evidently it's enough, because several people have used this and not had an issue with it. Talked to one fella, he said he don't use the air conditioner, he's just going to leave his on there. But even if you do that, then always carry a spare belt, no matter what you're using. If you keep the bypass on there, if you use a regular belt, always carry a spare belt, no matter what you got. So, because that's something you don't want to be on the side of the road with. Oh yeah, let's go back into the RV because I got something else to tell you. Okay, so while you're in the RV doing this project, there's a few things you can check while you're in this vicinity. One thing is check your fan clutch, because this engine's cold. It was only started for a couple seconds, and you'll see it's fairly tight. If you get a hold of this thing and it spins and it freewheels, then you know either you've lost your viscous material in that clutch, and that can cause you some overheating. They do go bad, so I've seen them go bad around 70 to 90,000 miles. Keep an eye on that. What else I want to talk about? Harmonic balancer. They've been known to come loose. The scenario usually is you'll be going down the road at some point in time and your belt will jump off or get damaged. You just think, well, you need a new belt. Put a new belt on. You drive down the road another 10, 15 miles, it jumps off again. Then if you stop and look, you'll notice your harmonic balancer is starting to come loose. So you got your hub here that's mounted to the crankshaft. You got that rubber sleeve, and then you got your pulley. And over time, that rubber sleeve can give way, and this pulley will either creep back or creep forward, get out of alignment, and the belt will start jumping off. So that should be flush. So this pulley and this pulley should be flat against each other. If it's higher or lower past this hub, then you know you need a new harmonic balancer. So let's see, what else was I want? There's something else under here somewhere. All right, I remember one other thing. If you're under here and you happen to see any like watermarks in like a single drop of water, that's where it usually, from the water pump, if the bearing or seal start to fail, it'll follow this pipe and you'll have a little drip right here. So if you see that, you know it's time for a water pump. And here's another little thing to check. These transmission pipes, make sure you have clearance, make sure it's not rubbing this frame. They've been known to rub and cause a leak. We don't want that to happen. Another place that rubs and causes trouble is this power steering hose. You can see I got a little piece of rubber on here. This metal piece will rub against your brake lines here and rub a hole. You can see that's got a little mark on it. And it'll rub a hole in those lines. And I want to think, I can't remember if these are brake lines or this may be the lines to the J72 auto brake, possibly. But either, regardless, you don't want to rub a hole in them. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, well, I guess that's all the tips I can think of at the moment. I just want to show you one more shot here. The belt, how it looks with the bypass belt installed. And it does clear everything. It works just fine. One more thing I think I'm going to do, because I'm going to turn around and put my regular belt back on. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to spin the alternator, make sure it's good and quiet. Well, that's always a good idea. Anytime you got a belt off, is spin. You can check your water pump bearing, your alternator bearing, your idler pulley, tensioner pulley. Spin all those. They should be nice and quiet. So let me do that as a last step. Okay, so the belt's back off, and you can see water pump, how quiet that is. No issues there. There's my tensioner pulley. It's nice and quiet. And let's reach up to the alternator and get a hold of it. Yeah, I'm spinning it. Alternator's nice and quiet. That's amazing, because that's the original alternator. 70,000 miles on it. Water pump I've already replaced. I've already replaced this bearing. So power steering pump pulley feels good. We already did the air conditioner pulley up above. So I guess we are going to wrap this up. So I'll put my factory belt back on and we'll call this a night. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Well, I guess this will be a PS. I thought it was finished. As I was going to put this new belt on, I noticed something didn't feel right. And let me show you the difference here. Like the tensioner idler pulley, spin that, see how free that spins effortlessly. But this one, I don't get that effect. It's kind of tight, and when I roll it, it's not noisy, but I can feel a little bit of roughness to it. So like I mentioned, I think I mentioned before, I keep spare bearings. So I'm going to quickly press me in a new bearing, and I'll I'll show you how to do that. So that's something you always want to keep with you, because they're cheap enough. In fact, I'll put a link to these bearings. We keep them on our little website. All right, let's do that. All right, let's see if we can't replace this bearing. So our goal is to get this bearing out, get that bearing in without causing any damage. The thing you got to be a bit careful about bearings, pressing them in. Getting the old one out really don't matter. You beat and bang on it all you want. But with a new one, when you go to press it in, you want to make sure you're only pressing in on the outer race. You know, you never ever want to be pressing on the inner race or have a bit beaten on a bearing. Because if you hit this inner race where you're trying to drive it in there, you're going to beat flat spots on the roller balls and shorten the life of the bearing. So I found me a socket here. It's like a 1 1/8. It's just slightly smaller than the bearing. So I'm going to put that on like this. I'm going to use my poor man's press, which is a vise. And then, because I noticed if I just put this in a vise, try to press it out, it ain't going to work. Because I'm not going to have enough clearance to get my bearing all the way out. So that's why I'm going to put this socket in here like this. That'll give me room for that bearing to fall into when I go to press it. So here's my combination. We'll put this up here, put it in a vise, tighten it up, and it'll just plop right out. So let me use two hands just for a second. All right, we are in position. Let's press out an old bearing. There it went. How easy that was. Now we just got to press in the new one. So there's the old one. So got the new bearing. I got to decide which way I want to go with this. Press it in and make sure it goes flush. Let me see what tools I'm going to use for this. Okay, you see I got the new bearing in position using the same socket just on the outer race. And we'll just slowly press it in with a vise and just stop right there, right about flush, the way the bearing came out. Looks about right. Okay, new bearing is installed. In fact, I looked it up. I seen a part number on here. This thing's 35 bucks on Amazon. So I pressed in another like a little $5 bearing, and I'm good to go. So I guess I'll just go bolt this up, and we will finally be done with this project. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. See you, bye.